Hello, hello, what's going on? It's Doug Cunnington here. This is the Doug.Show. This is the live stream, the video version, and I hope you could hear me. It looks like things are probably working. We have a few people in the house. Let me know where you're from. Just say hello, let me know where you're from. And we got a few things to cover today. I do want to welcome everyone that's joining for the first time. Let me know if you have been in here before for a live stream. And it looks like we're a little loud, so I don't have to talk as loud. I could whisper. Make it creepy. All right, so it's the first live stream of the new year, and I'm going to try and keep these up. I like the new kind of vibe that we have going on. We don't answer as many questions, which helps me like with the talking points, so we can hit interesting things. We don't have to answer the same questions that we get every single week. However, if you do have questions, you can ask them in the chat. Sometimes other people will direct you to like a link, such as nichesiteproject.com/FAQ. Many times those are just the questions that people ask on here, and basically there's a lot of different sort of beginner questions, and if you can get your way over to that FAQ page. Usually it helps out quite a lot. We have Edward on, we have Solomon, Tisham, what's up? Agers, of course, and Prinav. So happy New Year to everyone. I'm getting back in the saddle. It's been a lot of traveling. It's been a little stressful. I got a cold at some point. I got a little bit of a cold, which was unfortunate, but I fought through it. I got enough rest. I limited my alcohol consumption in beer, which was not as fun, you know. I would have liked to have had a couple more brews over the holidays, but that's okay. That's okay. We pushed through and we're healthy. It seemed like everyone that I bumped into had a cold out there, or they knew someone who had a cold. And the other thing that happened is like Georgie was traveling with me, so if you're just tuning in or you don't know, my holiday schedule, which you wouldn't know, basically I ended up driving from Colorado to the Atlanta area, so that's about a 20-hour drive, roughly 1,500 miles, something like that. Georgie came with me, which was great. She loves road trips. She likes riding in the car. It's just something she enjoys. And I like it too. I listened to several audiobooks, which I'll probably riff on that in a little bit here. And anyway, on the way back, we were stopping in Missouri. So we stopped in Missouri, stayed in a town called O'Fallon, which is like a little west of the St. Louis area. And it was nice. I actually got to meet up with one of my friends, someone I haven't met in person, Quentin, who sometimes watches these. So shout out to Quentin if you're checking this out later. And he and his wife joined me at a brewery, had a couple beers, and it was a lot of fun. So we just talked shop, and it was great. Anyway, that evening, Georgie got very sick. She threw up, had diarrhea, but I didn't know. Like, I had no clue that she was sick. So she kind of was pretty rough on the room, and it was horrific to clean up. So I will leave it at that. But it was awful, and then instead of kind of taking my time and driving a little slower, taking another stop like in the middle of Kansas just to, enjoy the drive and stuff like that, I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to drive the whole way. So I drove like 14 hours that day, and it was a little rough. It was a little rough. I ended up driving through snow for like 3 hours, which it wasn't like on the road, but it was like actively snowing. So not ideal to be driving in, but we made it home. Georgie was getting better a little bit, and then we eventually had to take her to the emergency clinic on New Year's Day. So she got sick again, made a mess in our apartment all over the place. And she is 100% house trained. Like, she knows to go outside. She's never had an accident. So it was pretty horrific again. We cleaned it all up. She's doing much better. She's been on like soft food. We think she got Giardia, so that's a waterborne illness, like a bacteria. I think it's a bacteria, and they could just give like a sort of a wide stream, I don't know what you call it, antibiotic, broad something. Someone will know. Okay, let's hop back to the chat, and then we'll get into some affiliate marketing stuff. in a second here. So Happy New Year to Demian. We have Dan. What's going on? And let's see, we got Tosh from Scotland. What's up? Honest Skills. Dan says he put a question in the bit.ly link, which is ideal, although I have not been reading those often. So Dan, since you followed directions, you did a great job by putting it in there. I need to actually go back to that list, but if you want to put your question in here, Dan, I can also try and pull it up, but that'll take a second. All right, Honest Skills, we have a Linus that's Echo, and then we have Don't Laugh Challenge, what's up? Juno Luna, we have Edward K, Craft Beer Central here in Derbyshire, UK, what's up? That sounds good. I need to get over there for some casks and some real ale and all that good stuff. Okay. Cool. We have a nice little crowd here. So a couple things I'm going to talk about, and just quick note for the people that are want to ask questions. You can ask questions. I sometimes will, if it's highly relevant to what we're talking about, I'll get to it, but I changed the way that we do the live stream. So if you've been on for the last, say, 6 weeks or so, you've probably seen these are different. I'm playing clips. I'm talking about things that I want to talk about that are relevant. And a lot of times if it's a question and if it's relevant to our discussion, then I will field the question. Sometimes at the end we just have some time anyway. But the big thing is it keeps the flow going so that I don't get distracted with someone saying like, what's your favorite keyword research tool? Because while it's a great question, I've created several videos on that. I've answered it on the blog. I've answered it on live streams in the past, and the people that tune in often, it's not super relevant anymore because I'll just answer that question. It doesn't matter. You can use whatever tool you want. I don't care what tool you use. There's a couple that I'm an affiliate for, but you can use other tools. It's totally fine. I'm not saying like you have to use a certain thing, and that is kind of the subtext of a lot of the answers to the questions. It's like, yeah, you could choose what you want. Like if there's a tool that you really like, if there's a theme that you really love, if you think the keyword golden ratio is not for you, that's cool. I'm not going to try and convince you. I'll present some information for you. But anyway, here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about the age site case study, and then I have some great clips from a few people that I'm going to play. We have one from Ron Stefanski, pardon me, who blogs over at the 1 Hour Professor. He has a YouTube channel, and he's been on the show a couple times. I'll probably be interviewing him again soon, just on a couple topics. And then I also have one with Dom Wells. So I interviewed Dom several months ago, but he was talking about auditing sites and like what to do, like when you either acquire a site or when you're trying to grow your site, that sort of thing. All right. So we got a couple cool clips coming in. And what I'll do here is hop over to the interesting stuff. So the age site case study. I haven't done a big update in a while. Part of that is just because I took most of December off, actually a decent little chunk in November as well. So there was not a ton of work done just in general, so I didn't do an update. But I'll give you a little sneak peek today, and then I'll also be publishing like a longer video with a little more detail. And then there's a podcast coming out on Monday with an update. So if you're not subscribed to the podcast, I highly encourage you to check that out. I like the podcast. I try and push people over there, and I cover different stuff. So if you haven't checked out the podcast, even if it's like similar topics, it's typically not the same. Like I'm repurposing things, but it's not exactly the same content, just verbatim. Sometimes it's pretty close, but usually it's like maybe 50% common, and then there's like just other information in there. So before we move on to the age site case study update, this live stream is brought to you in part by Ezoic, and that's a software platform that helps website owners make more money from their site. So Ezoic is a full platform of software, which I didn't realize. I thought it was just like a display ad network or something like that, but it's a lot more interesting. and they have AI, machine learning, and basically they're trying to provide a better experience for the visitor, which generally means you earn more money. And they optimize it on a per visitor basis. They have some functionality where you can sort of drag and drop and put where you want to test ads, and then the AI will test different ad types, ad networks, the locations to basically optimize the revenue. So it'll do a lot more of the things that are working, and then it'll reduce the things that aren't working as well. So it does the A/B testing for you, which can be quite complicated to set up. And they just rolled out the Site Speed Accelerator. I'm going to be testing that out in the next week or so, by the way, and I'll probably have more things to let you know about there. I've tested different caching plugins and different tools and ways to optimize your load speed, and Google likes that. The visitors like that. Basically, this tool makes it a little easier, helps you optimize images, lazy load, take care of CSS optimization, other minifying kind of things, and all the complicated stuff where there's like 30 checkboxes and a bunch of different tabs on the other plugins, and it's really hard to figure out. This stuff makes it much easier, and Ezoic has a 7-day free trial that I encourage you to check out. So thanks a lot to Ezoic out there. Okay, so let's move on to this what do you call it? It's the age site case study. Right now, I don't know if you could hear that, there's geese that are flying over. There's so many geese that migrate through this area. It's kind of funny. Like when I was like in Georgia, they didn't really migrate. So I didn't see like geese in the V pattern, but around here, like it's sort of in the, I don't know, this migration corridor through the Rocky Mountains and nearby, there are so many geese. It's kind of insane. Anybody have geese migrating in your zone? All right. So I see Pastor Duke. What's up? That's a friend of the show here. He's been on a few times. He had a very funny question, and I appreciate that too. He was asking about automated spam link building tool. Clever dude. All right, let's move on to the updates here. So if you're totally unfamiliar with the Age Site case study, basically I bought a site from Human Proof Designs, who I'm an affiliate for. So any of the companies I mentioned, I'm an affiliate for. So if you buy something from them, I get a commission. Thanks if you use the link. Usually there's some kind of bonus associated with it, by the way. So anyway, I bought a site, and the general idea was to outsource everything. And I've done virtually no work on the site since like October or so, and I've generally still not done much work. There's a lot more detail on the things that I haven't done in the podcast that comes out Monday. Okay, so I'm just going to show you straight up. So through the year, it's made just under $500. Now, that's great. $500 is cool. You can see it jumped up quite a bit in December, so that's about $180 there in December, and that's about 3x like the other previous months or so, roughly. Maybe a little bit more, but roughly 3x. So things are moving in the right direction. Like I said, I have done very, very little work, and I've done almost nothing in October through December. I definitely didn't do anything in November and December. So anyway, all the work that I did sort of in July and August, that's still like helping the site grow. And if we look here, you can see over on, this is the Search Console, just the broad data here for the performance. You can see there's slow growth. Nothing alarming, nothing crazy going on, but there's slow growth. You can also see that around November 8th, when there was a Google update, there's a little bit of a bump. So this site was helped by that November 8th update. And you can see it jumped up a little bit, and then there's just continued slow growth. So nothing, there wasn't like, okay, an acceleration. It's just like it bumped up just a little bit, and then it's continuing to grow. It's kind of the same level. And we can also see that with Google Analytics right here. So no hockey stick growth, nothing crazy going on. Again, around November 8th, which I think is in this zone here, you can see there's a little bit of a bump and then continued growth. there's a little bit of extra traffic here during the week before Christmas or right after, I guess right after Christmas right there. Maybe people got gift cards, so they were shopping around. I think that's something that does happen. I know I got a couple gift cards, probably going to be buying something this month. So you can see roughly 95% of the traffic is coming through organic search, and there's just steady growth. So all this together is a good sign to me, and I may be shifting the whole premise of this case study as far as outsourcing. I may be bringing some things in-house. So we made it through roughly 6 months or so. Things are going fine, but it's very expensive. So one of the goals is to hit an ROI positive situation as soon as possible. But basically, because link building is so expensive, if you hire services to do it, which I've been using on Organics and the HOTH, they're guest posting services based on the organic traffic levels and the estimated traffic levels, so you know Google likes the site. Basically, I've been using those services. It's been going fine. It's very hands-off. I hop in, order something. It takes about 10 minutes. I just have to figure out where I want the link to go and then the anchor text to use, and then they go do it. It takes a couple weeks or something like that, not too long. And then after that, it's just expensive. It's so expensive. And if I bring that in-house, then the cost drops dramatically. And it makes it a lot easier to hit that ROI positive point. And it doesn't take me much more time. Yes, I will have to have a VA do some of this outreach and work, but I've been testing a method that's working super well. It's a very high success rate, seems to be straightforward and easy to do. So I've tested it out and it's successful. So I will probably be bringing it in-house, and I elaborated a little bit more on that in the podcast. So if you're not subscribed to the podcast, by the way, it's just Doug.Show. It's on the major podcast directories. I do have it on YouTube as well, but I want people to download the podcast version, but hey, if you're listening to this stuff, I appreciate it. So I'm going to hop over to the chat here and just take a quick little look here. Okay, so Faxon asked this question. I saw you sent an email, and I did log it, but I'll answer it for you live right here. What's an ideal strategy if you're unable to find informational, relevant keywords to our niche? Basically, and I thought about this because I saw your email, and I was like, you just have to look harder. I think you're looking too narrow. So if you can't find any informational keywords, you're artificially setting whatever parameters that you're thinking of too small. You may be looking for informational keywords that have a product in it or something like that. But basically, if you found a niche, there are how-to kind of topics out there that you could find. So I would say, you could pick probably 10, I'll just see if I can come up with 10 different places you could look for informational content. So forums, answer the public, search on YouTube, search on other websites that are built around that topic. So it's 4, and then maybe we won't do 10. We'll just do 5 because this will be plenty. And then you can go to the bookstore. All right, go to the bookstore. If there's a book on it, there's informational topics. So there's 5 places. There's more informational topics than you'll be able to write. So you're just not looking hard enough. And I think, like I said, it's just that you've for some reason artificially built some barrier where you're thinking, hey, it has to be like this. And it doesn't. So look harder. All right. Now I'm going to play a clip from my good friend, Ron Stefanski, and he's going to be talking about link building a little bit, which is a popular topic, and then about making mistakes. And I know a lot of people out there, maybe you're at a point where you're starting to build your site, you're kind of in the early stages, and you're paralyzed by all the data, all the choices that you can make, what keywords to go for, how should you publish your content, this keyword versus that keyword based on search volume, what about the keyword golden ratio, what about all the competition? Just there are so many places to be paralyzed because you're afraid that you're going to make a mistake. And the big thing that you need to realize is you will make a mistake. You're you're definitely going to make a mistake. So you may as well lean into it. Don't try to make mistakes. That'd be crazy, but you will naturally make them. Just once you get enough information to make a decision, make that decision, execute on it, and move forward. So Ron is just going to riff a little bit, and this is about making mistakes and a little bit about link building as well.
So usually, okay, so when it comes to link building, like me personally, I mean, I'm a big fan of saying test different link building, because I don't think, and this is after being in quite a few different niches, I don't think that there's one link building tactic that works really, really well across every niche. Like if you're in the finance niche and you're trying to do guest blog posting, good luck. You better have a budget, because they're going to ask you for hundreds of dollars every single guest post, because that's finance and that's what they do in that. Mommy bloggers, same thing. Like some of them get really expensive with that. So like I'm a big fan of testing different types and really seeing. And when I say testing different types, like I don't mean reaching out to 10 or 15 people and seeing if it works. And then if it doesn't, saying, nope, it's no good, I'm out of here. I'm talking about reaching out to like maybe 200 to 300 total targets, trying a particular, link building tactic. And then if that doesn't work at that point, you have a decent data sample size, then saying, okay, that didn't work. Let me try this other one. Because usually in all niches, I feel like you can find one tactic that works better than most in all niches. There's going to be one tactic that works better than most. But me personally, what do I do now at this point? And I've done a lot of different tactics, but I think at this point, what I really focus on, I do a lot of guest posting now, because I think I found it, I've systematized it and made it kind of easy to be able, I have someone doing all the pre-outreach activities, the commenting on blogs, the replying to emails, that sort of thing, getting them warmed up, and then they kind of go in and pitch them. So I do that a lot. And then I also, Haro, however you want to pronounce it, help a reporter out. That's one of the reasons why I've kept, if anyone's wondering, why do you still teach? One of the reasons I kept that is because I think when people hear professor, they immediately it garnishes, it just gains some respect immediately. Like it has like that title, Mm-hmm. So I do Haro because I can reach out to them, and I'm a college professor. So, whoop-de-doo, it's a college professor. So I'm more inclined to get links. So that actually works relatively well for me. I've done that. But like, what link building tactics have I done? I mean, anything that you're going to read about, I've probably done it. I don't do black hat stuff so much. I stay away from that. But like when it came to like, I don't know, just doing resource page link building, I've done that. I've done like blog commenting back in the day. I would never waste my time now, but back in the day I did that. I've done, and we've talked about this. This is like an advanced tactic of something that I did that worked really well on one website, and I think actually hurt me on the other website. Mm-hmm. Is what I call database link building, going back to the word database, which apparently I just love that word. It was the idea of creating let's just say a directory of sorts on your website. So security guard training, I'm just going to use an example because we've been talking about it. Maybe saying, hey, I'm going to create a directory of all the security guard training schools. I don't even know if that's a thing. Security guard training schools across all 50 states. You create that directory, and then you basically reach out to them and say, hey, you've been listed on my website. Would you be willing to link back to me? Like that type of outreach. That worked really well for me across 2 different websites. And one website still to this day ranks pretty well. The other website, this is like a cautionary tale. I did that super hard. I was getting an insane amount of links. I remember when we were talking about it, it was like, I'm talking 5 to 10 links a day. It was like crazy how well it was working. But Google kind of, I think at that point, it's kind of categorized that website as a directory, because I think I went a little too big with that link building project, and it actually hurt that website. And I put a lot of content on the website, and it was a blow. And this wasn't that long ago. This was probably a couple months, 3 months ago. So I still make mistakes. But at that time it hit me, and I'm still trying to figure out how to finagle and make it like get fixed. But that was like a big thing that I did that I don't think many other people were doing. And it was working really well, but use with caution. Like I don't know the right answer to that, because it worked great on one website that was kind of smaller. I did it on another website that was supposed to be bigger, and I think it actually worked against me. So.
Gotcha. Cool. And just a quick summary. So you would you've done a variety of stuff, but generally your go-to is like just guest posting, like standard, do some networking.
At this point, yeah, because the websites and the niches that I'm working on, guest posting is great in those particular niches. I'm going to give away one other one that I remember. I heard this on a podcast, and it was a pretty interesting one. This is one of my secret ones that I'll tell everyone. So this is the juicy stuff. If you go to Flickr, right? One of the things when people are looking for images, usually they go to Flickr and they want to see a Creative Commons where it can be shared in the public domain, right? They want to do that. So this individual who was on, and I don't remember who this was. I would give him credit. This was not mine. I honestly cannot tell you who this was, but I thought it was pretty interesting. What he would do is he would actually take pictures himself, and then he would put them onto Flickr, tag them correctly and everything, and then say, yeah, you can use this, but make sure if you do that you give attribution to this particular website, right? That was his whole strategy. I did a variation of that to where I basically went out and I would never take images from Shutterstock and then just put them up there because that's totally illegal, copyright issues. But I would find ways to get content that was in the public domain that was technically free in other places, put it up onto Flickr and say, yes, you can use that, but you have to link back to my website. That I won't say that it worked super well, but I did get some pretty high authority links from that because people were just looking for the images. So it worked, but it should never be a primary. But yeah, nowadays I do mostly guest posting. Almost exclusively guest posting. I still do where I present my websites to people and I say, hey, this could be a helpful resource to your audience. What do you think? And that's not guest posting. That's kind of just shotgun skyscraper, just kind of saying, hey, this is a thing. But yeah, for the most part, I still do guest posting. I think would probably be my number one at this point. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And quick note, I can't remember. I've heard of that strategy, and actually I use Flickr images as well, Creative Commons, of course. And I've gotten emails where people were like, hey, you didn't attribute this properly. You should link to the website or whatever, which, the thing is you're right. You will get some links, but I think the magic of that is you have to go back and do the reverse image lookup to find out who's using it. And then do the outreach. So
yeah, if you really wanted to go hard on it, yes, absolutely. With me, I literally, and even now I'm building a website. I'm doing this and I'm getting content that it's images, but it's not like I'm going out with a camera and taking really nice pictures. These are images that anybody can get, but I'm getting them in a way that's kind of creative. I'm putting them up there. I'm actually not doing that outreach and reverse image lookup and saying that. I'm just putting it up there and hoping. And so far with this website, I haven't gotten any, but I did it with another website and I got some. But if you really wanted to go hard with it, yes, you'd probably want to do the reverse Google image search. But again, I don't know that that's the best one out there, but it's something to consider, I don't think that there is one link tactic that's great for all websites at all times. I think I run campaigns, I'm okay, let's do, for an example, let's do an infographic and create that. And then I'll reach to these 100 targets and then I'll move on to a different campaign. Okay, now let's try this. Okay, now let's try, and I'll keep trying until I find something that seems to work. And then I'll really try to hammer it. So.
All right, that was Ron Stefanski over there at 1 Hour Professor. You should definitely check out his site. He does income reports and he has a YouTube channel too. So go over there, give him a shout. He's been doing income reports since 2014, the end of the year, which is amazing. He's done it every single month since then, and you can see his trajectory. He's making, I think, about $20K a month these days. That's profit, not top line. So that's after expenses. This is what he's taking home. Cool thing is, all right. Cool thing is basically I found that hold on, let me fix this for you. Some people are complaining about the volume level. There, that should be a little better now. Okay, basically I rebooted my machine and it seems like every time I go live, there's some little thing. So it was using the internal laptop microphone, which sucks. So that's why it was kind of loud earlier, or I thought, and it probably sounded crappy. So Dan, thanks for letting me know that the volume is low. So I bumped it up a little bit, and it's a struggle. I don't change any of these settings. They fucking change on their own. And it's so annoying because you're rolling, things are looking okay, and then you realize that the software has gone and fucked you again. So it happens, and we just have to roll with it. Okay, let's move forward here. Dan, I see your question, And it's actually not too complicated here. So Dan submitted this via the sheet, which I need to start looking at again because there's tons of ideas in here. When grabbing keywords that fit the keyword golden ratio method, how do you ensure you aren't just cannibalizing a keyword that should be part of an article with a stronger keyword as the focus? And here's an example how to build a kegerator from scratch. And then, in your opinion, Dan, you say that term should be a long tail for a focus about DIY kegerator, which has a much higher search volume. Is this something you worry about in the beginning, or you just build it and then update the post later when the site gains more traction? Yes, I basically do the latter, right? So I basically just build it. I make a decision based on as much information as I have. And then a couple months later or a year later or whenever I want, I'll reevaluate and decide, hey, do I need to pull that keyword out? Do I need to put the keyword in to another post? Really, it doesn't matter. Just you could do it. You can do all your content where you include related keywords and longer form content, or you could separate it out. It doesn't matter. You can change it later, basically. And then the follow-up question, Dan, is would you use DIY Kegerator as the slug for the URL? And I probably would. I like shorter URLs just in general. So if you could take out some of those words, that's typically good to do. You can think about some of the other keywords associated with it. So with the title and the URL slug, I kind of try and mix and match. I don't have like a specific way I do it. It's just like on a ad hoc, like one-on-one basis. I take a look and I'm like, oh, that's what I want to do. And Aaron is from sunny Denver, Colorado. So I'm in the Longmont area actually. So, okay. Is the volume better, everybody? Is this sufficient? Things are working for us now. A little bit clearer, and I could actually talk louder now, which is a little bit easier than whispering into this thing. And I could also put it closer to my mouth if that's helpful. So, all right, cool. Decent question there, Dan. There's a whole post that I have on this, and there's a couple videos as well. So I encourage you to check those out. And by the way, just even if you don't have questions, go to nichesiteproject.com/FAQ. There's a bunch of things that you probably haven't thought of that will give you, new insights about what other people are thinking about, the questions that they have. And then there's also a whole FAQ on the keyword golden ratio. So if you're thinking, hey, I found this keyword and it has 800 searches and 4 all-in titles, what should I do? I answer that question. If you're thinking, hey, the keyword golden ratio doesn't seem to work for my site, what do I do? Hey, I published a bunch of content, I'm not ranking, what do I do? All that stuff, I've already answered it. So check it out on the FAQ page. You can read it at your leisure. The specifics of whatever your situation is, sorry to break it to you, probably doesn't matter. Usually these are like so generic that you've made a small mistake somewhere. Quick note, if you are learning anything from this, actually everyone just hit thumbs up if you're not learning anything. If I answered your question, which I'm pretty sure I answered more than 14 questions already, give me a thumbs up, like the video, it helps other people find it. And I appreciate that. So there's 35 people on, 14 have liked the video. I know people filter in and out. So please like the video. It is helpful. It does help me out a little bit. So thank you. I appreciate it if you do. All right, moving on. Oh, somebody liked the video. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, I want to give a quick little shout out for content because Aaron was asking about like content and well, I'll get to that in a second. So Content Development Pros. And by the way, Content Development Pros is like the company that I worked with for all the content that I added to the Age Site case study. So over the summer, I took about a month off. And then I took a month off again in December. So when it comes down to it, the second half of the year, there's not a lot of work being done around here. So I try and be like effective when I'm doing something, but Content Development Pros published about 50 videos and 50 posts in 30 days for me while I was on vacation. So I was just out driving to Alaska from Colorado. I was kind of off the grid. I didn't have an international cell phone plan or anything. So while I was in Canada, which was for about 14 days, I didn't have any like cell service. I wasn't like on email all the time. I was checking it every couple days when I had Wi-Fi at a hotel, which not all the hotels have Wi-Fi, by the way. It's kind of remote in the middle of nowhere in the Yukon or like northern Alberta or British Columbia. It's very beautiful, but there's not many places where you're gonna like hop in and get Wi-Fi. So anyway, the point is they published a lot of content, and I think I haven't been talking about them as much, but often there's a link in the description. I think there's a link in the description today where you can contact my personal account manager. His name's Tim. So you can contact Tim. He'll work with you directly to figure out what you need. He'll work out the pricing. You do get a discount if you use my affiliate link and work with Tim. I think you get a 10% discount as sort of like the baseline. But if you work out something specific, let's say you want to get 1,400 words per post or something like that, then you can have them do it. So the other portion of it is they assign a project manager, PM for you. And one of the bonuses, like if you buy from them, I can give you my status project or my project status worksheet that I use with the project manager. So I put in the title or the keyword that I want, the date that it's assigned. They can like give you notes if they have any questions on it. You can tell them any of your specs if you want as well. And then you could track it all in the sheet. Otherwise, you may be sending emails back and forth, which is very complicated to manage. Don't try and manage a project through email unless you have like a very good methodology around it, because it's going to drive you insane. So don't do that. You need to have some sort of tool. A spreadsheet is the best one to use in my opinion, because you don't have to train anyone on it. If you use a tool like Asana or Trello or Basecamp or whatever, you have to train someone on that. If you use a spreadsheet, anyone knows how to use a spreadsheet. It's just like rows and columns, very simple. So anyway, if you sign up with Content Development Pros, then I can give you my sheet. All right. So the question that Aaron had, what's the easiest way for a content manager to upload a Google Doc to WordPress? Basically, copy and paste it in. You will end up messing up the formatting there because there's going to be what they call cruft. It's just garbage formatting that Google Docs will insert when you copy and paste it over, but you could highlight everything and then remove the formatting. There's a little erase button in WordPress, and you just click that and it gets rid of the cruft. Or you can go work with a team like Content Development Pros and they'll upload it for you. They'll do that whole thing. They had instructions. I think I gave them an author or editor login for my WordPress, and they did everything. I was just gone. I wasn't even looking. I had a VA that was checking in with them every now and then. My man Justin is on here. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good holiday season. And then eDoctor says, is it worth it to upgrade to Yoast Premium? I don't think so. I don't like the Yoast plugin, and I don't use it anymore. So, but if you want to, if you think it's valuable, you need those other kind of, what do you call it? Functionality. If you need that functionality and you think it might be helpful for you, then check it out. But I don't like Yoast. I think it does a lot of people that I work with a disservice, and I don't like it. I don't like many plugins. All right. Abdul says, what do I think about book niches? I don't like them that much. All right. Adil says, I'm inspiring. Awesome. Thank you very much. Oh, and we got 25 likes now. So thanks everyone for pitching in. My man, Derek, I missed him while I was down in the Atlanta area. Quick note, I did a meetup in the Atlanta area. It was only a few minutes from Derek. And I went over to the that Sugarloaf Mills area with my family. We did an escape room. So one thing that I have two sisters, and one thing my siblings and I realized a few years ago, I think my wife and I sort of spearheaded this and they were into it, but around Christmas, we're giving gifts, and we used to exchange gifts with everyone, but we all have the shit that we want. If I want to get like a new lens for my camera or whatever, which is sitting right over there, then I kind of shop around, I buy it. So we we're fortunate, right? We have a little like spending money or whatever. So if we want a thing, we usually get it. We don't have to wait around for the holidays, right? So if we buy something for our siblings, we buy some stuff for each other, we just have more stuff. And my wife and I were moving around. My one sister, she's moved around some too. And basically, we don't want to have more stuff. We don't want more stuff at all. Just period. So we started doing experience gifts. So what we do is, this year anyway, we did an escape room. In the past, we've played laser tag. We've gone bowling. We played poker one night and just like drank whiskey, maybe had a couple cigars. And basically, it's awesome because we get to hang out. We get to do something. The escape room was great. A few of us had done like a little escape room before, but a couple other folks had not. But it was super fun. We solved it, which was pretty cool. And I encourage people, do the experience gifts. It's a little more fun because probably not everyone, but probably you don't need more stuff. Probably your siblings or whoever you're giving gifts to, they don't want more stuff. They want to like go do something, spend some time with you. So we did the escape room, and then we went out to dinner, had a really nice dinner out. So that was fun too. All right. And you could, whatever you're into, you could do like a cooking class, you could do an escape room, you could do paintball, whatever you want to do. The laser tag was super fun when we did that a few years ago. There were a bunch of like kids, like teenagers in there. They were probably like between like 12 and 15 or something like that. And they were kicking our ass. They were so good at it. And I remember we were running around, like shooting at each other, kind of hiding and working on teams and all that stuff. And basically, we were so sweaty. Everyone was so sweaty because it was just hot and we were running around. Very active, very fun. All right. I think someone asked about not keyword velocity, link building velocity. And yeah, you don't want to go overboard, but generally, you could probably build links pretty quickly. If you have a site that's been around for a while, say several months, and you have a couple links, you could probably build about like a few links per week. If you look at an actual site where someone's promoting it, they're doing outreach, they're on podcasts, they're doing things, they can get links fairly quickly. Try to imagine what a normal site would do. And I think that is a good way to guide like your velocity. But generally, like if you're doing things in a white hat way and you're actually doing outreach, like I don't think you're going to reach any sort of like threshold that's like going to be too much. All right, let's hit some questions in here since everyone's been so patient. People are liking the video, which I appreciate very much. And let's see here. I kind of lost a spot. All right. So Adil says more posts on keywords mean more chances of getting clicks to affiliate links, right? Generally, yeah. Or just around 25 to 30 articles, around 2,500 words are enough for informational website like interior design. I don't know the answer to the second part of that question, but more is generally better until it's not. So I can't answer that specifically for you, but yeah, you get the right idea. Publishing more content, generally that's going to be good. Okay, Job says, which is my favorite tool for building comparison tables? I typically use an HTML table generator. I don't like plugins. If you are hellbent on using a plugin, I wrote a post on it on Niche Site Project. Please go check it out. It's a little more thorough, and there's a link for the HTML table generator that I use. It's free, so it's faster too. The problem with plugins is they're a security risk at some point, and sometimes they cost money, sometimes there's bugs, and they suck to use. All right, so that's the other part. They suck to use, and it's just easier for me to work with a little HTML and some CSS. All right. And Duke is mentioning that he really likes another plugin called, I don't know. Anyway, there's some other plugin. Oh, Rank Math and WP SEO are better than Yoast. Okay, so there are other tools out there, but yeah, I mean, typically I'm not missing anything. All right, I'm not missing anything from the Yoast. All right. Justin says, what service am I using for the blog commenting and did I have to train the VA? I used OK Relax. Yes, I trained the VA, but if you sign up using my affiliate link, then I will give you the job aid that I used, that I iterated on, and that they used. You do need to give them a list of blogs that you want them to comment on. That is kind of key. I don't want, it only takes me a few minutes to find those anyway, Justin. So I can give them like a list of 100 and it takes me 10 minutes. And I'd rather do that than rely on them making the decision. So some of the VAs are better than others. The more you work with the VA, the better they get. So OK Relax is what I used. And I believe, okay, Derek says, you're mad that you missed out. When am I going to be back in town? I don't know, but I imagine later this year I probably will be back around. And for the people in the Denver area, I probably will be doing a meetup. So Aaron, I'll probably have one in the Longmont area before too long. So Aaron, if you sign up with Content Development Pros, there's no link in the description, but if you go to nichesiteproject.com/ASCS for Age Site Case Study, you will find the contact info for Tim. You can email him directly. He knows me and we've worked together for months. So you can just like email him, sign up. Once you get some confirmation or whatever, let me know. I'll verify it on my end and then I can send you the sheet. So, all right, cool. Good questions out there. And I'm jumping around trying to follow threads. Derek says, what was the time on the escape room? I think we had, I don't remember. So number one, I don't remember. I want to say it was about 52 minutes or 55, something like that. We had a few minutes left and it was pretty fun. It was pretty fun when it was coming down to the wire because we're like, we don't know what to do here. And full disclosure, we got one hint, and I don't think we would have completed. And there's two levels. It's kind of cool. So they have like a basic puzzle that you solve, and that's like the main thing. And then there's a secondary puzzle. So if you finish, you can keep going. So we kept going for the advanced puzzle, and it was hard. I'm not sure if we would have solved that secondary puzzle, but yeah, we went through pretty quick, and we actually watched a video by it's like I can't remember his name. I think it's Rob, but he has some YouTube videos that get like tens of millions of views. I think he does one video per month, and he had something about escape rooms, like 10 tips to help you go through an escape room. One of the top tips is to have a project manager so that you are working on the right thing and you don't get too distracted with things that don't matter out there. All right, let me see if I missed any other questions. So Justin, let me know if you have any questions about the blog commenting or OK Relax or anything like that. Cam says this. For best X for Y affiliate articles, what format do you prefer? I'm doing Wirecutter, quick intro, top 3, then supporting research. Yeah, generally that. If you look at my site, then you'll find that basically I emulated that. So I put a table in there. It's modular. You could do however you want. Obviously they're like one of the best in the business, best in class. So if you're following their lead for basically anything, you're probably on the right track or doing very well. And Lance, what's going on? Good to see you on. Thanks for the email. Lance thought maybe there was a broken link on an email I sent out today. I couldn't find the broken link, and all the links seemed to work when I tested it. So, but thanks for the heads up. I'm prone to make mistakes for those kind of things. All right. So, for other just general questions out there, I see Shanur asked about tools to use, which is ironic. Go to nichesiteproject.com/FAQ and I answer questions like that. I've already answered that one a few times already. So there's videos as well if you prefer YouTube, which a lot of people would, since you are indeed here watching this. So thanks everyone that liked the video. And a couple cool things coming up. Number one, if you're not on my email list, you should sign up for my email list, nichesiteproject.com. Just click the green button and then you enter your name and email. I'll send you a lot of templates, many templates. And by the way, on the idea of templates, I think there's a link in the description. My friend John Dykstra does have like a package of all the content templates that he uses, and he has sites with, I know there's one that has like over 3,300 posts, and he has several sites. He's making about 40K a month or so these days. Anyway, you can get his templates that he uses for all the different content types. So super cool kind of package out there. And basically I give away most of my templates. So I just give them away. And after I saw John, like charging for his, I was like, oh man, I should have not done that, because now what do I do? But I give away a ton for free. I hope it brings a lot of people value from all the people saying, hey, they're making money now. I know that it does. And I don't ask for much. I sell some things every now and then. I appreciate it if you use my affiliate links. That's always cool. That's a great way to support me. And you're buying it anyway, right? You're buying it anyway. So, okay. So Aaron is saying for content development pros, it's only $13 per post. I don't think so. I think it's a lot more expensive than that. So you may want to check. I don't know where you're looking, but I think that's not right. I think it's way more expensive than that. It's a premium service, and they have a lot of writers that can get work done really quick for you. So, all right. If you sign up for that email list, I often send out emails that give you notification about live streams like this, but I also send out like free courses every now and then. So if you're already on the email list, you will start getting this like next Monday. There's a 3-part mini email course, but if you haven't been on the email list for a little while, you may not get it. So I have a couple like marketing approaches that I've adopted, and it limits me in some ways, but it's powerful and effective in other ways. This, by the way, I could probably make 10 videos on these topics, but I got 6 minutes right now. So I'm just going to give you some broad behind the scenes information. So when someone signs up for my email list, they enter an autoresponder series, and then I send them several emails over the course of several weeks. And then at some point they get an offer to buy my course. It's called 5-Figure Niche Site. And that's an evergreen funnel. So when you hear people talk about an evergreen funnel, I have one. It's set up with deadline funnel, and it's individual for each person based on when they sign up. So it's evergreen for each person, and you go through the sequence, and then once you get to a certain number of days, then you will start getting like broadcast emails from me, which are more timely, and then you still get an automated email for about 30 weeks, something like that, right? So there's a lot of emails that go out, but there's some broadcasts which are more timely. I still launch my course, even though there's work associated with that. I still launch my course because there's something about selling some like a product in a timely manner, real time, not in an automated sequence or anything like that. And I do that roughly once per quarter. So January, April, July, October. Generally, that's the way it runs. And I test it. It takes a long time to test this stuff, number one, because if I'm running an evergreen funnel and I don't do any launches, I have to gather data, right? I can hear what happens with other people, of course, but everything is specific to you. So like when people ask questions, I can generally like give them the most basic high level answer, and it's right most of the time. And basically, the more times you try and sell something, like the more people will buy it. I have been on email lists for years, did not buy anything, and then the time was right. I had time to work on the course material. I had the money to pay for it, and I was interested in the topic. And then I bought it after years. So I know that some people are on the email list for 1, 2, 3 years, and then they buy the course. It's very interesting. So anyway, I do relaunch the course and do it real time. A lot of the marketing material is similar or almost exactly the same. So for the people that have that are interested in this stuff, like I saw my like mentors from afar, people that I was following, and how they were marketing things, and I've sort of emulated it, made it my own, adapted over time. So out of the gate, it was very, very highly derivative of the people that I was following. But over time, I figured out, okay, this is not exactly how I want to approach it. I want to do it a little bit different. So I would tweak my approach and I would tweak the marketing materials. So anyway, the point is I am sending out a free mini course next week. If you want to get that, you can sign up at nichesiteproject.com. You probably won't get, if you sign up today and you're not on the email list already, you won't get the mini course on Monday. You'll get it in a few weeks. But don't worry, it's all automated. It's on the way. And these are the sort of topics where it's like kind of like more advanced. And when you hear people like pushing products like, what is it? ClickFunnels, they're like, hey, you could sell a product and, we make it so easy because of the software. And maybe it is easier, but I could tell you, it's kind of hard to sell shit. So it takes a long time to build trust, and it takes a long time to figure out like what to sell, to develop the product. And again, the trust in the audience that you're trying to market to, you kind of have to like work through it. You have to take a stab, make a decision, see how it works, adapt along the way, and move forward. So it's not very easy, by the way. Courses are great. I love them. I'm going to be like launching another course and, not too long. You'll hear about it. Don't worry. But it's complicated and it takes a while to do. Yeah, the tools make it much easier these days, but it's still not easy to market something. So even if you're like launching something and people want it, you'll still have to tweak it in the future. So any questions before we finish up here? And P says rankings take too long. You've been around for a while. You should have some stuff ranking out there. I remember you lurking around here asking questions for a while. So yeah, it takes some time, but it also means that people can't, like once you start ranking, it means people can't come in and then just displace you. That's how it was back in the day. Basically, you could rank quickly, but other people could outrank you quickly. All right. And Derek mentions that the escape room, which he's a beast apparently, 29 minutes was the best time. That is fast. That is pretty darn fast. And I think, you know what? I said it was over 50 minutes, but I think our time was only 50 minutes. So it must have been like 40 some odd minutes. Something like that. We had less than 10 minutes left. I do remember that. I can't believe we didn't like look at the time. So, all right, I think we're at the top of the hour. Thanks everyone for hopping on. If you are not already subscribed, please subscribe. Definitely appreciate it. Thank you everyone for hitting the like and thumbs up. I'm sure once we have the people that watch the replay on, it's going to go up much higher when they hear me whining and complaining about liking the video. I appreciate the support, and I dig these kind of sessions where I can play some clips. And oh yeah, I was going to give you a little bit more of a sneak peek here, but I'm planning on doing a lot more interviews coming up. I sort of tapered off at the end of last year. I sort of was testing what would happen if I had more guests on, which generally that's a good thing. There's more like production work. There's more work for the interview, of course. But as far as scheduling it over the holidays and then me taking time off, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do any interviews for a little while here, and then I could ramp it back up for the new year. So I'm going to be ramping it back up. And I know a couple people were asking if I could hook up with Matt. I don't know how to say his last name. G over at Money Lab. So he's in the Boulder area, and I actually met up with him a few weeks ago at a beer brewing thing over at our co-working space. So I got to chat with him. We're going to be meeting up soon and probably doing some collaborations and stuff like that. I will find out how to say his last name. I listened or watched a couple of his videos over on YouTube, and I think he's like, "Hey, I'm Matt," and I did not hear him say his last name. So anyway, he's over at moneylab.co. For people that know Matt, and I know a few people emailed me, a few people emailed Matt and said that we should talk to each other, and then just organically we were going to be at the same place. So we got to meet up then, and yeah, we should be hooking up in the next week or here pretty soon in the area, and hopefully we'll be publishing some videos, maybe some podcasts and stuff like that. So anyway, everybody have a great weekend. We will see you next week.